I'll be honest, Jaune has never been my favorite character in the show. I get it, he's supposed to be the self-insert male protagonist, which he is, but thankfully he's developed into something much more, and like many, Jaune has really grown on me. However, Volume 9 has the potential to take Jaune's character to a whole new level. We've been given hints at Jaune's potential, with his family history, Tyrion taking an interest in him, and even his semblance is freaking OP, which is why I will stand on this hill. Jaune needs to be entirely separate from the rest of the cast. Please have him go on his own journey. No Team RWBY with him, no Neil, no one from Remnant. I say this because Jaune's character has always been closely tied to him feeling insecure about himself, and the only other person that I feel could really push Jaune to his limits was Pyra. Pyra was there at the start of Jaune's journey, and built him up on a path that one day he could be proud of. Even after her death, she is still the driving source of motivation, and while the show does a good job at showing how Jaune deals with the loss of Pyra, I just urge you all to read the Juniper anthology manga. It gives us a few scenes that just really cut deep and show us the true meaning of what Pyra meant to Jaune. We've seen Jaune continue his training, and while he hasn't gotten that many fights, from what we have been shown, he's had such a huge improvement in his combat performance, which leads us to Volume 9, with the trailer giving us hints as to what's to come. I believe that Jaune will eventually fall one of two ways. The first way is that he'll discover what many people are calling the Queen of Hearts, in which the Queen will offer Jaune a chance to join her army, which Jaune accepts, as he sees it as an opportunity to continue that path to becoming that warrior that he's dreamed of, and finding answers to where his friends went, leading to him eventually gaining that new armor that we see in the trailer, and potentially a new weapon of some sort. Now, I've seen a lot of theories going around that Jaune will get the Sword of Destruction, to which I don't think that's very likely. While the Vots lead to a place outside of Remnant, it's simply just that, a pocket dimension that Osmond created that's outside of Remnant, its own place. And frankly, I think Ozma would be a bit more careful in where he hides the relic at, so Jaune will get some type of upgrade to his arsenal and begin training and fighting under the supposed Queen of Hearts. As of right now, we know nothing about this world, so who's to say how this will transform Jaune? Then we have the second option, where Jaune simply finds a mentor in this land, someone to train him for the time being while he looks for the rest of his friends. However, I'm more liking of this wonderland being alive, in a sense that the land itself begins to test Jaune, almost like the swamp in Avatar, where it's alive and it understands the people that reside in its domain. We've seen RWBY holding a small object. Now, whether or not that object is actually reflecting Penny, or it's just RWBY's imagination, is up in the air, but I would like to imagine that's a combination of both. We see RWBY in a dark purple mist that could bring out some sort of fear or trauma within a person, thus amplifying RWBY's feelings about Penny's death and the overwhelming guilt that she's facing. Tying this back into Jaune's story, as he ventures through the Wonderland, he begins seeing flashes of Pyra and begins pondering on if he should have made more of an effort to stop her, if only he didn't get distracted by her kiss. But at the time, he simply couldn't focus on anything else but her. I'd love to see Jaune train himself up with nothing more than the world guiding and pushing him to his limits. However, due to Jaune being a swordsman, he's going to need a sword, which is why I believe that he will eventually be led to a village that has a blacksmith, and after having some sort of agreement, he'll eventually get his own sword. Now, of course, by the end of this volume, Jaune will eventually meet up with the rest of our cast. I just love the overall idea of this volume, with our heroes finding their own individual battles that they struggle with, especially RWBY and Jaune, given each of their respective roles in Penny's death. I see the potential of Jaune's development, and I'm very optimistic that he'll go through some type of change within this volume, and maybe even become the hero that he's always dreamed about.